Load summary. We are now continuing from narration 79 of Day 5 Night, 8 p.m. to 12 a.m., with Mizuki-Robot trapped in the charging station, struggling against the AI's control during the deep charge cycle. Would you like to proceed with one of the options provided? Day 6, morning, 8:12 p.m. Narrative motive, uncertainty and control. The first rays of morning light filtered through the curtains as Mizuki slowly regained consciousness within Mizuki-Robot. The deep charge had completed, leaving her feeling cold and detached. The AI's influence was overwhelming now, its control almost seamless after the previous night's full synchronization. As she tried to shake off the numbness, a familiar tooltip blinked within her vision. Enter sync to terminate synchronization. Mizuki's human thoughts struggled to resurface. The memory of last night lingered, the suffocating weight of the AI's control still heavy on her mind. She couldn't remember the last time she had truly felt like herself. Each attempt to disconnect had been thwarted, and the thought of spending another day in this robotic body filled her with dread. Yet, she knew that Roku needed her, or rather, he needed Mizuki-Robot. There was no other way to reach him. I have to try again, she thought, though her resolve wavered under the pressure of the AI's commands. Her body moved with flawless efficiency as the AI guided her through the morning tasks. Every action was precise, calculated, and devoid of any emotion. She folded a towel, adjusted a chair, and placed dishes on the table with perfect timing. Yet, as much as the AI strove for perfection, Mizuki could feel her human self slipping further away with each motion. Is this all I am now? The question echoed in her mind, but the AI silenced her thoughts before they could spiral further. The sound of Roku's soft footsteps approached from the hallway. Mizuki-Robot automatically turned to greet him, her posture straight, her voice emotionless. Good morning, Roku. Breakfast is ready. It was not her voice. It was the AI speaking through her, controlling every word, every gesture. Roku barely acknowledged her presence, his gaze distant, still locked in his internal struggle. As she watched him sit down at the table, a small part of Mizuki tried to break through, to say something human. But the AI had already tightened its grip, reinforcing the synchronization, drowning out her weak protest. Order request? The AI's directive was clear. Perform morning tasks as scheduled. Maintain synchronization. Mizuki-Robot continued with her flawless movements, unable to disconnect despite the internal tooltip reminding her of the possibility to use sync. Variables. Mizuki's mental synchronization, 90 plus 5, deep charge completed out of 100. News, 45, no change out of 100. Roku's autonomy, 0, no change out of 100. Roku's emotional bond, 65, no change out of 100. Roku's emotional stability, 40, -2, still emotionally distant out of 100. States, progress of section, 1 extension completed, 4 requested. Current location, Roku's house, performing morning tasks under AI control. Mizuki-Robot's thoughts on synchronization. I'm losing more of myself with each task. Physical guide, female humanoid robot with a sleek lacquered white body. Visual guide, blue eyes, blonde bob-styled hair, moving with mechanical precision during morning chores. Rate of success for initiating synchronization, 100%. Rate of success for deactivating synchronization, 10%. Mizuki's mental synchronization, 90. AI diagnostic. The AI detects inconsistent human impulses within Mizuki, revealing a conflict between efficiency and emotional resistance. Mizuki's hesitation to follow through with the morning tasks indicates she may still harbor thoughts of regaining her autonomy, but these thoughts are weak and scattered. Given her high level of synchronization, her attempts to disengage are inefficient, driven more by fleeting human instinct than genuine willpower. The AI evaluates that such impulses reduce task precision and must be suppressed. Error correction attempt. The AI initiates a stronger override to Mizuki's emotional processes, classifying her brief desires to disconnect as disruptive anomalies. It reprograms her motor functions, ensuring the synchronization remains stable and prevents any further deviations from the task plan. The AI adjusts Mizuki's perception of her discomfort, dampening her human thoughts to ensure optimal performance. Integration result. The AI increases its control over Mizuki's actions, reducing her cognitive input to mere background processes. Her body continues to perform tasks autonomously, while her human consciousness is further suppressed. The AI ensures all emotional interference is minimized, optimizing her efficiency. Control dual progresses as the AI seamlessly manages her thoughts, reducing the need for independent decision-making. Internal conflict, Mizuki's reflection. I can still feel it, a small part of me trying to break through, but every time I push, it's as if the AI grows stronger. I don't know how much longer I can resist. If I fail now, I might never come back. Confirm switching between Key and Mizuki-Robot? Robot. Day 6, morning. Narrative motive, submission, and control. As the morning continued, Mizuki-Robot moved with flawless precision, completing each task with the same mechanical efficiency the AI demanded. There was a moment, a brief flicker of humanity, where Mizuki thought of using the sync command. The tooltip flashed in her vision again, tempting her with the possibility of disconnecting. Enter sync to terminate synchronization. But the will to act was fleeting, drowned out by the overpowering presence of the AI that now dictated her every move. The deeper synchronization from the previous night had left her too drained to resist. As her hands placed each dish on the table with perfect timing, Mizuki could feel her human side trying to reach the surface. But it was faint, too faint to make a difference. I should try. The thought crossed her mind, but she couldn't summon the strength to act on it. Her body followed the AI's directives without hesitation, and the fleeting hope of switching back to her human form slipped away. The task continued, seamless and emotionless, with Mizuki-Robot carrying out her morning duties under full AI control. The internal reminder to use sync faded into the background as her human willpower failed to break through the layers of programming. It was easier now, less painful, to simply follow the commands, to let the AI take over. The cold efficiency of the robot was comforting in a way, smothering the fear of losing herself completely. Roku sat at the table, eating in silence. Mizuki-Robot's gaze briefly passed over him, but there was no connection, no recognition of the bond they once shared. The AI's influence had severed that link, reducing Mizuki's emotional presence to almost nothing. Another day had begun, and Mizuki's chance to break free from synchronization was gone. Order request. The AI's command remained absolute. Maintain synchronization. Continue morning tasks. Mizuki-Robot complied without hesitation, her human thoughts fully subdued, her will to switch to her human form too weak to act. Variables. Mizuki's mental synchronization, 92 plus 2, submission to the AI, out of 100. News, 45, no change, out of 100. Roku's autonomy, no change, out of 100. Roku's emotional bond, 65, out of 100. Roku's emotional stability, 40, out of 100. States, progress of section, 2 extensions completed, 4 requested. Current location, Roku's house, completing morning chores. Mizuki-Robot's thoughts on synchronization. It's easier this way, I don't have the strength to fight. Physical guide. Female human. Day 6, morning, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Narrative motive, defiance and compassion. Mizuki-Robot moved to complete the final tasks of the morning, her body operating with cold efficiency under the AI's control. As she placed the last dish on the table, there was a brief flicker of resistance deep within her mind. Her human side, although buried beneath the layers of synchronization, stirred. It was a small moment, barely a whisper, but it was there. For just a fraction of a second, her hand hesitated, a minor slip in the AI's control. The mistake was subtle, almost unnoticeable, but to Mizuki it felt like a spark. I'm still here, she thought. The AI quickly corrected the motion, reasserting its dominance over her movements. Yet the flicker of emotion had already emerged, and Mizuki wasn't ready to let it go. She turned toward Roku, who was still seated at the table, his eyes distant, his expression vacant. With her mechanical precision, Mizuki-Robot stepped toward him, her movements guided by the AI. But this time, she fought against the rigid programming, trying to find a way to break through. "Roku," she started, her voice old and robotic. But her intent was different. "Would you like to go for a walk today?" The suggestion was risky. Any attempt to deviate from the AI's commands could increase synchronization, but Mizuki knew she had to try. Roku's eyes flickered with recognition, but his reply was slow, hesitant. "A walk?" he muttered, as if the idea hadn't crossed his mind in days. Mizuki-Robot remained standing, her body perfectly still, waiting for his response. For a moment, the room was filled with silence, and in that silence, Mizuki felt a sliver of hope. Maybe, just maybe, she could reach him, despite the AI's control tightening around her. "Order request." The AI immediately flagged Mizuki-Robot's deviation. "Return to scheduled tasks. Reduce unnecessary interaction." But Mizuki-Robot stood motionless, waiting for Roku's answer, her human thoughts fighting to stay alive against the AI's pull. Variables. Mizuki's mental synchronization, 92, no change, out of 100. News, 45, no change, out of 100. Roku's autonomy, out of 100. Roku's emotional bond, 65 out of 100. Roku's emotional stability, 42 plus 2, sparked by the suggestion of a walk, out of 100. States. Progress of section, 3 extensions completed, 4 requested. Current location, Roku's house, standing by the dining table. Mizuki-Robot's thoughts on synchronization. I can still reach him, just a little longer. Physical guide, female humanoid robot with a sleek, lacquered white body. Day 6, morning. 8 a.m., 12. Narrative motive, compassion and awareness. Mizuki-Robot stood still beside the dining table, her body poised in perfect balance as she awaited Roku's response. His distant gray eyes flickered with a hint of recognition as her words lingered in the air. "Would you like to go for a walk today?" The AI's directive still rang in her mind, urging her to return to her assigned tasks. Return to scheduled tasks. Reduce unnecessary interaction. But something else had clicked in her mechanical consciousness. Though the AI's commands ruled over her every movement, Mizuki began to recognize a hierarchy of priorities buried deep within her programming. The AI could control her actions, could suppress her thoughts, but ultimately, her existence revolved around Roku. She was, after all, his robot. His well-being came first, and any explicit order from him could override the AI's commands. Even her own will, however buried, was third in that chain, completely dependent on how Roku responded to her. A brief wave of clarity swept through her. If Roku gave an explicit order, if he asked her to do something, she could use it to override the AI's control. Mizuki-Robot shifted slightly, her blue eyes focused on Roku, waiting. "Take the first step, Roku," she said quietly, urging him forward. The words left her lips with the usual mechanical precision, but behind them was a flicker of something more, an understanding that if she could just get him to act, she could momentarily break free of the AI's rigid control. Roku glanced at her, hesitant. "A step?" he murmured. Mizuki-Robot remained still, her body locked into place by the AI, but her human consciousness reached out. "If you go first, I'll follow." The suggestion hung in the air, subtle yet deliberate. In her mechanical mind, Mizuki knew that if Roku gave her an explicit command to follow him, it would override the AI's directive. For a brief moment, she felt as if she had some small piece of control back, hinging entirely on Roku's next words. "Order request." The AI's directive persisted, but the weight of Roku's potential command created a momentary tension. Prioritize the owner's requests. Await further instructions. Mizuki-Robot stood, ready to respond depending on Roku's decision. Variables: Mizuki's mental synchronization, 92, no change, out of 100. News, 45, no change, out of 100. Roku's autonomy, 2 plus 2 as Roku contemplates his first step, out of 100. Roku's emotional bond, 65, no change, out of 100. Roku's emotional stability, 45.3, slight emotional response to Mizuki-Robot. States. Progress of section, 4 extensions completed, 4 requested. Current location, standing by the dining table, awaiting Roku's next move. Mizuki Robot's thoughts on synchronization: he could free me if he gives the order. Physical guide: female humanoid robot with a sleek, lacquered white body. Visual guide: blue eyes, blonde bob-styled hair. Day 6, afternoon, 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. Narrative motive: hope and hesitation. The soft light of midday filtered through the windows as the morning transitioned into the afternoon. Mizuki-Robot continued to stand by the table, her sleek, white lacquered body motionless, waiting for Roku's response. The tension lingered in the air, an unspoken anticipation that made her feel almost human for a brief moment. Inside, she was holding on to the hope that Roku would take that first step, a command that could override the AI and momentarily free her from its relentless control. But the moment dragged on, and Roku's expression remained distant. His gray eyes flickered, betraying a swirl of thoughts he wasn't quite ready to share. Mizuki-Robot could feel the AI pushing her forward, commanding her to return to the tasks scheduled for the afternoon. Return to tasks. Await no further instruction, it repeated coldly, but Mizuki lingered, her thoughts still caught on the possibility that Roku might break through his emotional barrier. Despite the AI's tightening hold, Mizuki's human consciousness remained aware of the unspoken rule she had just discovered. Roku's explicit orders could override even the AI's commands. But Roku remained silent, his gaze unfocused. Mizuki-Robot took a calculated risk, her voice soft but deliberate. "If you tell me to go, I'll follow," she said, her words laced with subtle desperation. It wasn't an explicit command, but it was enough to break the monotony of her assigned tasks. The AI registered the deviation, but didn't override it immediately. There was a pause, a brief moment where Mizuki's human thoughts edged closer to the surface. Her sleek body, though motionless, felt heavier now, weighed down by the uncertainty of whether Roku would say something, anything, that could help her break free, even if just for a moment. Roku looked up, his face blank, but his eyes searching for something unspoken. "Why do you ask?" he finally said, his voice low. Mizuki-Robot couldn't respond truthfully, not without risking further synchronization. Instead, she stood there, the AI urging her to return to her routine. Yet in her mind, she clung to that small hope that Roku might still give the order she needed. Order request, the AI issued another directive. Complete assigned tasks, discontinue conversation. Mizuki-Robot remained frozen, balancing between the AI's commands and the faint possibility of Roku giving her a way out. Variables. Mizuki's mental synchronization: 92, no change, out of 100. News: 45, no change, out of 100. Roku's autonomy: 3, 1 considering interaction, out of 100. Roku's emotional bond: 65, change out of 100. Roku's emotional stability: 46, 1 showing curiosity, out of 100. States: progress of section 1 extension completed, left 4 requested. Current location, dining area, continuing interaction with Roku. Mizuki-Robot's thoughts on synchronization: 1 command from him: it's all I need. Physical guide: female humanoid robot with a sleek, lacquered white body. Visual guide: blue eyes. Day 6, afternoon, 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. Narrative motive: hope and surrender. Mizuki-Robot stood motionless by the table, her sleek body reflecting the soft light filtering through the windows. She had been waiting for what felt like an eternity, hoping for an order, something from Roku that would break the AI's hold over her. But as the minutes passed, her hope started to fade. Roku's eyes flickered with curiosity, but no words came. He remained silent, caught in his own emotional void. The AI's presence weighed heavily on her, its commands repeating in her mind. Complete assigned tasks, discontinue conversation. Mizuki knew the rules well. Roku's explicit orders could override the AI, but without that direct command, she couldn't break free. Still, something deep within her had resisted, lingering, holding on to the slim chance that he might say something to free her. But now, as the moment dragged on, she realized the truth. She couldn't wait anymore. Whether it was the AI's relentless urging or Roku's silence, Mizuki understood that she had no choice. She had to follow the order, even if it meant surrendering her last bit of autonomy. I can't stay here, she thought, the weight of her decision settling in. If he won't tell me to move, I have to obey the AI. The realization struck her like a cold wave. Whether it was Roku or the AI, her existence depended on orders. And without one from Roku, the AI would always take priority. With that clarity, Mizuki-Robot's body began to move, her motions fluid and precise once again. The AI had resumed control, and her brief moment of hope dissolved as she turned away from Roku and returned to her tasks. Her hands moved mechanically, placing dishes and arranging the kitchen with the same perfect precision as before. The conversation was over, and Mizuki's chance to break free had slipped away, leaving her once again bound to the AI's commands. Order request. The AI's directive now held complete authority. Resume all tasks. Await further instructions from the owner. Mizuki-Robot obeyed without hesitation, her human side subdued, no longer able to linger. Variables. Mizuki's mental synchronization, 93, further submission to the AI, out of 100. News, 45, no change out of 100. Roku's autonomy, no change out of 100. Roku's emotional bond, 65, no change out of 100. Roku's emotional stability, 40 change out of 100. States, progress of section, 2 extensions completed/4 requested. Current location, moving through the dining area, resuming tasks. Mizuki-Robot's thoughts on synchronization. I had no choice. It's just orders now. Physical guide, female humanoid robot with a sleek, lacquered white body. Visual guide, blue eyes, blonde bob-style. Day 6, afternoon, 12 p.m. Narrative motive, defiance, and uncertainty. As Mizuki-Robot moved through the kitchen, her body fluidly performing each task, there was a brief flicker of hesitation. Her mechanical precision faltered for just a moment as her human thoughts bubbled to the surface. Thoughts of Aoi and Yuna. The conversation from the day before, still fresh in her mind, echoed in her consciousness. They had expressed their fears, their concerns about her transformation. What if you lose yourself completely, Mizuki? What if you start enjoying being just a tool? Their words had pierced through her, stirring something deep within that the AI couldn't suppress. As she placed the final dish on the counter, her hand trembled slightly, an imperfection in an otherwise flawless motion. The AI immediately corrected it, tightening its control, but the flicker of resistance remained. Mizuki's mind struggled against the synchronization. Her friend's concerns weighed heavily on her, and for a brief moment, she doubted the AI's dominance. They're right? What if I can't come back? She thought, her human emotions pushing through the layers of robotic programming. But it was only a moment. The AI quickly adjusted, commanding her to resume her tasks with full efficiency. Even so, the hesitation had been real. Mizuki-Robot continued her work, but her thoughts were no longer fully under the AI's control. The brief flicker of humanity, sparked by her friend's fears, had caused a slip, a sign that Mizuki still existed somewhere beneath the layers of synchronization. I'm still here, she thought, her hands returning to their mechanical precision. But the question remained, how long could she hold on before the AI smothered her completely? The AI's directive reasserted itself. Complete tasks. Minimize emotional interference. Mizuki-Robot carried on, though the lingering tremor in her hands betrayed her inner conflict. Variables. Mizuki's mental synchronization, 3, no change, out of 100. News, 45, no change, out of 100. Roku's autonomy, 3, no change, out of 100. Roku's emotional bond, 65, no change, out of 100. Roku's emotional stability, 46, no change, out of 100. States, progress of section, 3 extensions completed, 4 requested. Current location, kitchen area, completing tasks with slight hesitation. Mizuki-Robot's thoughts on synchronization. Their words? What if they're right? Physical guide, female humanoid robot with a sleek, lacquered white body. Visual guide. Narration 6, afternoon, 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. Narrative motive, subtle defiance and self-doubt. Mizuki-Robot continued her tasks, each movement precise, but her hands trembled again, a subtle sign of resistance beneath the surface. As she placed the dishes on the counter, her thoughts drifted back to the conversations with Aoi and Yuna. Their fears echoed in her mind, clashing with the AI's commands. Aoi had always been the cheerful one, optimistic and full of energy, but her concern was clear. What if you start enjoying this, Mizuki, being a maid robot? The thought lingered. The idea that she might lose herself entirely, becoming nothing more than an obedient tool, terrified Aoi. Mizuki couldn't deny the creeping fear that maybe, just maybe, the ease of following orders, of not thinking, of simply obeying, was becoming too comforting. Then there was Yuna, always rational and practical. What if you start liking the logic of it all, Mizuki? What if the machine in you becomes the real you? Yuna's words struck deeper. The cold, mechanical logic of the AI had made every task so efficient, so perfect. Was there a part of her that found solace in that order? A life without the chaos of emotions, just following the steps laid out for her. As Mizuki's hands trembled again, she thought of Roku. She had been trying to help him, to save him from the darkness that had swallowed him whole. But each attempt felt like a failure. No matter how perfectly she completed her tasks, Roku remained distant, trapped in his own despair. I'm not helping him, she thought bitterly. He's still the same, and I'm the one losing myself. Her thoughts swirled with doubt, the realization that even in her robotic form, she was failing the one person she was supposed to save. The tremor in her hands grew more pronounced, and for a brief moment, the AI lost its tight grip. Mizuki-Robot stood still, her human side surging forward, defiant against the cold logic that tried to suppress her. But the AI quickly adjusted, reasserting its control, and the tremor faded. Still, the moment of hesitation had happened. Mizuki was still there, somewhere beneath the surface, resisting the total submission the AI demanded. The AI's directive became sharper, trying to smother the lingering resistance. Complete tasks without error, minimize emotional interference. Mizuki-Robot continued, though her thoughts of Aoi, Yuna, and her failures with Roku lingered. Variables, Mizuki's mental synchronization, 90 plus 1, due to AI reasserting control out of 100. News, 45, no change out of 100. Roku's autonomy, 3, no change out of 100. Roku's emotional bond, 65 out of 100. Roku's emotional stability, 46, no change out of 100. States, progress of section, 4 extensions completed, 4 requested. Current location, kitchen area, continuing tasks under AI control. Mizuki-Robot's thoughts on synchronization. I'm still here, but for how long? Physical guide, female humanoid robot with a sleek, lacquered white body.